All right, hello everyone on Terrence's and Iron Rebel's IG. My name is Andy Huang. I'm one of the owners of Iron Rebel, and today we're here obviously with Terrence. We're doing live stream, Q&A, kind of like a brief uh, interview, I guess. But we'll first start with Terrence's background into bodybuilding. And so, Terrence, can you tell us like how you got into it, or what got you into bodybuilding?
Yeah. I was in the military. I joined young. I was 17 when I joined the military, and I was going through special forces training. Was doing pretty good, and then I ended up not making it, and had a month left in the pipeline. But
Uh-huh.
I was really light. I was like 120 pounds, so some of the things that required a little bit more mass were difficult for me. So uh, after that, I immediately started hitting the gym because my goal was to go back and make it through that pipeline. And real quickly, I think in the first 6 months, I went from like 120 to 150. And I was like, oh crap, this is pretty cool. And from there, I had these guys tell me, like, you should look into bodybuilding. So I went to the convenience store on base and picked up a magazine, and Dexter Jackson was on the cover. And honestly, from that point on, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So how did you, I guess, did you have some early workout partners or coach or mentors, and how did that lead into your first bodybuilding competition, and how'd you do in that?
Yeah, yeah. So once I got to my, even before that, I remember it was funny. I tried to get help from a dietitian on base because the bases have
Right.
we have so much access to stuff. And she looked at me and she's like, I don't know why you would want to gain weight outside of vanity purposes. And I was like,
Yeah, it's all
so
vanity.
she didn't help me at all. I was like, all right, well, I'll do it myself. So I ended up picking up this magazine, A to Z Nutrition, and some guys will know him, but Joel Thomas was on the cover of that one, which is pretty cool
Okay.
because I'm cool with him now. He lives down in Florida. Uh, so I just built my first diet off of that, and then once I got to my first base, I met this bodybuilding couple, the Blacks is John and Heather Blatts, and they helped me get ready for my first show. They tried to talk me into doing men's physique, but I was like, no, I'll just do bodybuilding. I'm good. I'm good. And so I ended up getting actually last place in the open, but second in place at the team in the teenager division. So not what I wanted at all. I thought I would go in, win the teenager division, at least be decent in the open.
Yeah.
But that was a wake up call really early in my career.
So obviously you didn't do as well as you wanted, but so that was more of a motivation versus like it didn't get you down. You're like, you still, even with the not so great placing, you thought, this is still something you want to pursue.
Yeah, like a lot of people and a lot of kids, I think they put too much into their first composition. They get it's too serious. Yeah, you should put your all into it. You should want to do well, but at the same time, this is just the stepping stone, the starting spot. You can start
Yeah.
wherever. The only thing that's important is if you learn, grow, and progress over time. So for me, I was totally okay with it. I was honestly very motivated to come back and do better the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everyone has different starting points, and
Mhm.
obviously you're in the open. You're a teenager going against grown men, so it's different situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were 18 that first meet or first competition?
I was
17.
19,
19. Okay.
19. Yeah.
And so how old are you now? So how long have you been bodybuilding now?
I am 31 years old. So yeah, what 12
12
years
years.
now?
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so in these 12 years, like, obviously you've done a ton of competitions. So what were like some of the bigger obstacles or toughest like situations you've run into while bodybuilding? Like any injuries or weird health things or anything like that?
Not until recently. The biggest things up until this past year was always just mental, whether it be, relationships ending or even close people close to me passing away. Those are the biggest obstacles when I first started, or financial, I guess would be another one.
Yeah,
Money in the
yeah.
bank, you know. The first major injury I've had to deal with is this past year. Yeah, it's tough because any physical issues that you have are also going to cross over into a mental thing as well for most
Of
people, you
course.
know. So, yeah, I've had to deal with a couple of different things throughout the years, but everybody does, you know. No one goes through life on, I guess, easy mode or with no issues or complications.
All right. So, about your injury, I'm not familiar with what happened. Can you tell me what the injury
Yeah,
was?
yeah. So, I had an elbow injury that put me out of the last year's competition season. Nothing, I guess, technically major, not like a tear or anything like that, but to the point where I couldn't lift basically anything upper body wise for a couple, like 2 months, and then I was able to find a decent physical therapist and some help out here in Texas, and they got me to where I can train, but it's still been causing me a lot of issues. Even now, after I even got stem cell therapy, and it's still not great, but I'm making do.
Yeah. So without being able to train upper body, which obviously affects a lot of your workouts, were you able? Did you? How did you, I guess, adjust your focus? So since you couldn't train upper body, was it more like, okay, I need to just focus on my legs, or just dial in nutrition, or I guess you're also this is like the biggest you've ever been, right? Is that more of
Yeah,
a
yeah.
is that more of is that something you kind of needed to do anyways, or you were just kind of forced to, and you just take advantage of the situation?
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So a year, a lot. I've done a lot of different things this past year. Some of it was just wallowing, sitting down in bed, not doing much.
Right.
Um, so other things once I kind of set in my mind to get up and get off my ass was just do what you can with what you got. So a lot of I don't need much quad work, but hamstring work for sure, calves, a lot of things that require like elbow, just moving my elbow I stopped doing, but I could still do things like pec flies, certain pullovers, things like that. Uh, some delt stuff, so you just train what you could, and you just increase the frequency of that, and that way you're able to build that a lot better over time. Yeah.
Okay, so as of like right now, what would you say your health is, as far as the elbow? Is it 90% better, or
Like
is it
seven, I
80%?
may say like, but before I started seeing the physical therapist, maybe like a 30. After the physical therapist, like maybe 60, and after stem cell therapy, maybe a 70.
Okay,
Like at 70%. Yeah. So like a lot of things still will bother it. I can still train pretty hard and heavy, but it's very limited when it comes to exercises, and I have to be very particular about like how my hand placement,
right.
just a lot of it, just the path my elbows tracking on the machine, all of it is very meticulous with that.
Okay, so well, I want to just talk about the weight part. So like, um, I'm sure a lot of people in the past have said, "Oh, you need to get bigger, you need to get bigger, blah blah blah." But like, in your mind, what's your philosophy on like the whole bulking and getting bigger, because of adding muscle and all that stuff, versus like kind of staying patient and just kind of keeping your structure, but doing it over a longer period of time, slowly, versus just like a huge bulk?
Nah, Um, as I've gotten older, yeah, you don't really need to get super out of shape in the off season in bodybuilding. But you see a lot of these guys now, like they stay really, really lean throughout the year, and they're still growing.
Yeah.
I think the days of like Lee Priest getting super, super out of shape is over. You see Derek and Nick and Samson, all these guys, they're very presentable, year round. They can do a guest posing at any time.
Yeah. Um, so are you trying to say, so you're about 11 weeks, 12 weeks out of your next show, or your first stroke of this year?
Yeah, yeah, 12 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. When do you think, when's like the moment like that you're like, okay, I'm in prep now? Or is there not something like that definitive? It's more just kind of gradual because it just gets a little bit harder each time? Or do you have like some like emotional switch? You're like, this is like, is there a moment where like, okay, at this week out, a lot of these things I can't do anymore. I got to stop, and this is because I'm actually in prep now. Or is it kind of more gradual, and you kind of cut things out week to week?
No, and my coach says I'm in prep and there's no cheat meals.
Okay,
That's what it is, you know.
that's what it is. Yeah.
Ideally, I would like to do better with that in the off season. In the off season, I've always been a little bit more lax with like someone's in town, I'll go out and eat or something like that. But I would like to rein that in a bit as well. But prep started at 18 weeks out for me, and it's been yeah.
And no cheat meals the whole time so far?
We've had one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I've had preps where usually there's maybe like 3 or 4 tops over this time frame, you know.
Is it like a real cheat meal or just more of a refeed of healthier foods?
It's a free meal, and usually just life stuff. Like I'll just be honest, oh, I have a anniversary or it's my birthday. But I don't go out and eat anything crazy. Usually like the one I had was sushi,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah,
But I've had even coaches back in the day where the cheat meal I would be told like, okay, you're gonna have 2 Subway double turkey meat sandwiches, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's really specific. Yeah. Obviously, you've had a lot of accolades throughout your career. What are kind of like your top one or two like experiences or accomplishments that you're most proud of or happy about?
I had a couple, I would say. I mean, definitely the Arnold wins are probably the best things I've done in classic so far. I also have the most pro wins, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I've been doing it the longest now, so it's kind of like it's not that cool, I guess, but it is cool at the same time. Um, Outside of that, I think one of 3 people that have beaten Chris, in his pro career.
yeah.
That's pretty cool accomplishment. And yeah, I would say those 3 would be the best.
How are your feelings on not being able to compete against Chris anymore?
It was a little like in the moment it was a little sad, but you know, like classic bodybuilding, the sport is bigger than one person, and even
Yeah,
though he will be missed, we got to keep moving forward, and grow the sport and make it something good, great.
yeah. So in your mind, what are some things or some changes that you think could help grow the sport more or improve the sport? Um, whether it's like competitions and rules or weigh-ins or anything like that.
I would love if the Olympia did live weigh-ins, kind of like a fight for the top 5 or 10 guys.
Yeah.
That would put some people on the spot. You don't make weight, you're fucked, man. And yeah, if you can still compete, but you don't place. I think that would be pretty pretty cool. I think putting more effort into the the stage production. Like obviously not a lot of people could do this because not a lot of people put too much into their routines, but I think being able to make it more entertaining in that regard would be
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
because honestly, if you're a good poser, your routine could be something anyone likes. So they don't have to even be in the bodybuilding,
Yeah. Like I know one common complaint from athletes, it's like the scheduling and the timing and how long the Olympia is and they run till like midnight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is
I
that something
mean,
you on board with too? Like
yeah, it's long. No, I mean, I saw Steve said it's long too. I don't know how they would fix that. It's a nightmare, like logistically to try to fix that or any type of way. I've thought there's a lot of different ways you could go about it, but would it how it would be received would, vary. I know a couple years ago they tried to do the point system where the top only the top 20 or 25 could to go to the Olympia
Right.
in points, but then people complain because that bottom of that like the bottom five or so would always have to be kind of ready to do a show
Yeah.
because they're just
They're
it
trying
could
to add
switch.
points. Yeah.
Yeah, someone out of nowhere, there's the one or two shows before the Olympia could win a show and then you're bumped out.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sucks. That does suck, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, but 60 people at the Olympia is, in my opinion, it's too much.
Is
Yeah,
that how many are allowed for classic?
it's just depending on how many shows. So,
Oh wow.
as classic grows, more shows happen.
Right.
Now there's 50, 60 shows, so everyone who wins the show gets qualified. So, they've argued about doing a pre-judging
Oh yeah.
and picking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I mean,
That makes sense. Kind of like a competition. Like you gotta, kind of like in Olympics, right? Like in sprinting, there's like qualifiers and semis and all that stuff.
the
But
best way that would work, in my opinion, was like it'd be a 2 day show. Like the Open is a 2 day show, and 2 day shows suck. Don't get me wrong, I don't like two
yeah.
day shows, but it's Olympia, whatever. It'd be a 2 day show. The first day isn't televised, and then the next day it is, but you still have a prejudging and you still have a finals, but the finals isn't judged. So you judge the prejudging, the prejudging the next day that's
Uh-huh.
televised, and then you don't judge the finals that's televised because I don't think it's fair to judge people three times. That's a lot to
Right.
stay ready for what is that? That would be a little like 48 hours. That's a long time. Or
Yeah.
yeah.
So I've always had this question, and I did do a little bit of bodybuilding, but mostly powerlifting now. But like, why do prejudging and finals in general, like for bodybuilding, why do two separate things of like judging? You know what I'm saying? It kind of like I don't know. I don't see the point of that or the advantage of that.
Actually, I don't know when that started or how that
Right?
started. Maybe it's a money. I only thing I can think of is maybe it's a money thing. Uh,
Yeah.
because I wasn't around in the 70s, but looking at Pumping Iron, I don't know if there was a
Yeah.
a separate show. I think it was just one show back in that Pumping Iron movie. So I don't know when that began. But yeah, I mean, definitely it's probably like a money thing. You get to charge people twice to go to a show. But
Yeah.
I would rather just pay more for one show, to be quite honest with you. Just let it be one show, charge me double or whatever the combined rate would be,
Right.
because it sucks getting out of a show at like midnight or 1 a.m. in the morning because of finals. But
Yeah. Because like I mean, I don't know how often it happens, but like if it's like if person A nails it on prejudging, and then person B was okay, but then comes back in finals and
it's
beats
only
person
for
A.
show. Daniel knows. Daniel's the historian. Okay, so there was a prejudging, but it was only for the judges in the 70s.
Okay,
Okay, okay,
okay.
okay.
I mean,
But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they do it that way.
yeah, I've used for now. Money, I'm sure, is a big motivator because the bodybuilding
Yeah.
shows aren't cheap to like go see and go watch. It's
No.
crazy. Yeah. Okay, so as far as some goals like in the media goal, like what's your kind of your goals this year as far as competing and maybe business too, personally, professionally.
Goals. One is win the Pittsburgh Pro would be
Right.
the most immediate goal of mine. I think if I can win the Pittsburgh Pro, I have a really, really good shot like of winning the Olympia. I personally think some of the guys coming to Pittsburgh are some of the most impressive physiques I've seen, um, in a long, long time. Um, outside of that, we're getting just boosting my socials again. With everything that happened last year, um, kind of turned inward for a while. So getting back to being consistent, being my old self, posting more. I'm filming almost every day, doing stuff every day. I have a whole little little whiteboard of different things I need to get
Nice.
done. So
Yeah.
yeah, just yeah, that's the big two things right now. And being just a little bit more thoughtful and slower to move on certain things. In the past, I've been very like impulsive or quick to do things.
Right.
So just being taking more time to kind of plan things out is what I'm looking for.
Okay. And then I guess long term wise, are you someone who wants to be in the sport like a long time, like your like one of your influences, Dexter, or you want to kind of leave on a healthy note and before you get too burnt out, or it's kind of year to year?
Yeah, I don't know right
Yeah.
now. The younger me would say I would be done at 30, and now I'm 31, still going. Yeah, we'll just take it year by year. I mean, um, I'm 31. I mean, I could be doing it if I'm as blessed, blessed enough to be similar to Breon. I could do it in another 14 years. I don't know if I'll do it another 14 years, but Breon's 45. Still top five in the world. So potentially I could go a long, long time, which I
Yeah.
don't, I don't think many people make it that long. My first Olympia was at 22.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool.
No, I feel you. It's like I'm 40. I'll be 41 this year, and for the last 3 years, I'm like, I'm retiring. I'm retiring. I'm retiring. But like
Yeah,
something just keeps pulling up. But for sure, this is my last year. I've kind of like made the transition for the last 3 years mentally, like getting ready for it. So yeah, it's you never know when the time comes, but you kind of
yeah, you really don't. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So as far as besides obviously being a top bodybuilder, what are some other things you do to make money? You do coaching,
Yeah,
posing, coaching, all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Do coaching. That's the main bread and butter. Outside of that, just sponsorships, coaching sponsorships. I have like a property, some properties, but I don't take any money from that right now. That goes all the way. So no, two forms of income would just those two things. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, do you have any thoughts on or any desire to do like a gym down the road? I know that's pretty popular
Yeah, I
country.
would. I was trying to do one down in Florida, but I didn't believe the partner I had at the time, the business partner, would it would work out. So I stepped back from that. I found a better one here in Houston. So now we're just trying to pull together funds to get make it happen, So Lord willing, we'll have one. I'll have a gym. But yeah, just taking it day by day and sourcing, getting quotes and different things like that to see what we can do.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm sure there's a lot of gyms in Houston, but Houston's a
There
huge place.
is, yo, there's a lot of like moving from Tampa to Houston,
Yeah,
like Tampa, I would say there's no great gym. There's a couple, like two or three decent gyms in Tampa, but in Houston, there's tons of good gyms here. There's Alpha Land, there's Roman Empire, there's Apex, was it Iron City, and there's a dozen more
yeah,
that I believe. There's another gym that just opened up like 2 weeks ago.
crazy.
I've heard Martin, Fitzwasser, and Brett, they're opening a gym. It's insane on how many, but Houston's huge. Houston's a lot bigger than Tampa, but it still is insane how big fitness is here.
Yeah. So speaking of Houston and to Tampa, like how long you been in there and what's the adjustment like? And like what are the like any issues adjusting or how are you liking it in Houston, I guess?
I've been here, I think about 10 months. I love it here. It's the people, like I just connect with better. When I was in Tampa, I had like two, three good friends. Um, but we didn't hang out all that much. They've been older and relationships and whatnot. But here, I live right down the street from Honor. He lives 3 minutes away. I got my buddy Roy. I see them every day at the gym. Tony, Chloe. I knew just a lot of good people. The gym owners are nice. I think bodybuilding also it's more appreciated in Texas.
Yeah,
From the gym, not only just the gym owners, but from the people and the just the community is really really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like there's probably a bigger bodybuilding community overall in Houston and Texas in general.
Yeah, yeah. I used to argue because Florida is pretty big in
For sure.
bodybuilding too, like in terms of
Yeah,
shows. But I would say even though Florida maybe be close to the same amount of shows, like Texas has better
yeah.
quality, like just athletes in general. Yeah,
I think the shows are bigger too, or
they
like there's
probably are.
more
Yeah.
athletes. Yeah. So we've obviously you recently joined Iron Rebel, which we're definitely excited to have you there. What are some of like your favorite products that we you or you have that you're using?
Right now, the big thing is the elbow sleeves, man.
Of course.
Yeah, that's keeping me safe, man. Uh, I'm not used to using a lot of the protective gear just over the
Right.
years. But now it's kind of like a
Necessity.
godsend and yeah, the necessity, yeah. So definitely and I like in terms of the sleeves, I like for my knees, I like I don't know the name, but the thinner ones.
Oh,
Uh,
the black with red trim
yeah,
or
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, those are
So
HD. Yeah, they're made for more bodybuilding. Yeah.
I noticed too. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people realize like there's different types of lifting gear for powerlifters versus bodybuilders, and definitely feel like trying out everything. You can feel the difference of
Yeah.
like the powerlifter stuff is a little bit more stiff compared to like a lot of the bodybuilding gear, which is really really cool because not a lot of companies actually have that type of thought in mind. They just make one product and give it to everybody. So it's nice to have something made for bodybuilders for sure.
Yeah, we try to have a wide variety. That way, we're not, isolating anybody because we all have issues, and but we all also have all different goals, obviously. So, yeah,
Yeah, because especially like if like especially knee sleeves in particular, if they're too stiff, they actually can take away from like quad growth. So like in bodybuilding terms, it's definitely not what you need. So it's really cool, man, that you guys thought of stuff like that.
yeah. So speaking of the elbow sleeve, so we are going to in the process of creating a custom elbow sleeve for you, and we're from my understanding, you want to put some quotes on there, and we're also that we could get some quote ideas from your followers and kind of brainstorm and choose from them. Is that kind of what you want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be cool because after this year and even before, like I've always been a man of like who loves to use those type of things to motivate me,
yeah,
different quotes from different inspirational people. And I think it would be cool just to be able to like look down at your wrist or your sleeve and see something that can motivate you, like when you're not feeling the best or whatever it may be, or you're getting ready for a good set. Yeah, yeah. That was kind of the thought process there.
no, no. I think we all need motivation and inspiration at random times in our life, and to have it available, especially in the gym when it's on your body, it's gonna
Yeah.
be good motivation. So
Uh,
yeah, so to all the listeners right now and down the road, we'll put up something to where you guys can give input on like kind of some of your favorite quotes, and if Terrence likes them, maybe we'll add that to his custom sleeves.
awesome, awesome.
Yeah, is remember your why going to be on it? Is that one of your favorite quotes?
Yeah, yeah. It's on I'm dark, so you can't see it, but there's a
I
tattoo there,
see
I
it. I
promise you.
see it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll definitely be on there. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. If anybody has any questions, you can shoot them right now. We can zoom them off. Someone asked how to learn to pull a vacuum.
Well,
What are some tips?
there's two different ways. I mean, like so there's training your TVA, your transverse abdominals, the muscles that keep your waist tight.
Yeah.
So just sucking in, pulling your belly button towards your spine. I am training that every morning. Arnold used to, in his bodybuilding encyclopedia, he had a whole process to do it. Like you start on your back, then you flip over to your hands and knees, then you sit in a chair, then you bend over, then you actually do it while you're posing. That's one way to go about it. Um, the other the other way that people don't talk about as often when you're doing a vacuum to get that really, really deep vacuum is actually creating a vacuum in like your body. So like you blow out all your air, you close off your airway, and then you suck in, and then you actually it ends up being a lot deeper because you're creating a vacuum center within your actual diaphragm. But yeah, those are the tips I have.
Okay.
But training your TVA will also help you get a better vacuum doing it the second way I mentioned as well.
Okay. All right. Um, this listener asked, are any shows that you haven't done that you would like to do down the road?
So I'm doing two. I'm doing maybe two of them. Definitely one Pittsburgh this year, maybe New York,
Okay.
depending on how I feel after Pittsburgh because they're pretty close. The only other show I would actually there's two now. There's two now. Only two other shows I would like to do would be Detroit and Monsters in Korea because I'm a really big fan of if you put effort into your stage and into the lighting, um, I want to be there, you know. I want to be able to present myself in the best possible way.
Right.
And those are two of the shows really, really giving athletes the best of the best.
Okay, so in terms of bodybuilding, what makes a show good for the bodybuilder or maybe bodybuilder and the audience? Like what are some details that like I don't know
The
about what
Arnold
makes
does
a
it.
show
I
good.
will say this, the Arnold does it the best by far out of anyone, but they kind of have an advantage because they have some of the smallest show, you know, like amount of athletes at a show. You know, the Olympia has 60 people dressed in classic, where I think the Arnold may have 60 people total because they
Uh,
usually cap it at 10 per class, you know. So there's usually like 10 classic guys, 10 open guys. So but yeah, the Arnold they kill it, man. Like in terms of like anytime we have questions, they're there. They give us an escort from from the hotel into the stage because they can get like when I went to India and competed, it was I could barely get backstage, you know, because of the
right.
fans were
Mobbing
rushing
you.
me. But
Yeah.
yeah, so the Arnold really, really does a good job. The stages are beautiful. So a lot of times I've been seeing complaints about stages having too many crazy lights in the
Right.
background, you know.
And
The
graphics and yeah.
the Arnold they find a nice balance, you know, like they find a nice balance of having a lot of like darkness, but also still giving the sponsors room to promote their, you know, brands because they got to do that, you know, you got to, you know, it's part of the business. Um, so I like that. Detroit does a really good job. Detroit probably does it even better. I don't know how they do it, but I think their thing is completely black now from the
Uh-huh.
background, at
Yeah.
least in the photos. So maybe somehow they're really doing a good job as well. Monsters Gym usually has a really, really nice set piece, and then the rest of it's black. Kind of like Arnold did one year with the set pieces. Arnold doing
Right.
the twist and back shot.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that. You know, if there's too much going on, or there's a crazy banner in the background with your show's logo, I'm not a huge fan of that. You know,
Yeah. Okay, so lighting, the background are key. As far as like when you guys are in the on the backstage and like resting, what to you
um,
makes like a good setting for an athlete back there? Like chairs or
definitely.
towels, or what are some details that we don't know about that you prefer?
So the best again, outside of, you know, obviously the Arnold and the Olympia would be Monsters M. It was an amateur show they put on. They had little rolling mirrors for everyone, like the size of like the dollar store mirrors, but they rolled. So like they had like 10 or 20 of those backstage.
Okay.
Obviously chairs for everybody as well. Enough room, good lighting still. They had lighting, which was nice for the people backstage. And yeah, I think that's probably best. The other thing I would say is that if they use that software, Muscleware, where it'll let you know when you need to be backstage, who's getting
Okay.
on stage. So you're not, if you don't want to be backstage, you don't have to be,
Right.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This person wants to know how can I hit my adductors if I don't have a adductor machine at my gym?
Adductors, if you don't
Yeah.
have an adductor machine. So things you can, so you may not be training them directly, but exercises that play a huge part or with the adductors would be like a single leg press, Bulgarian split squats, even I believe RDLs engage adductors quite a bit. So add those into your programming. That'll help a lot. Outside of that, I mean, it's kind of a pain in the butt, but you can use cables to mimic it.
Right.
It's not my favorite idea, but if you really want to just target that specifically, that would be the only other thing.
Okay. Oh, what is your favorite posing routine from all the ones you've done until now? Do you have a favorite?
Blinding lights, for sure. Um, I know everyone likes Survivor,
Yeah.
but Blinding Lights is by far my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you of the belief that you can't reuse the same song ever again?
For the most part, I mean, like I've done it once with Survivor just because it had been a lot of years and my physique changed a lot. So I was like, oh, it'd be cool to see how I look now doing it. And then I changed it slightly at the end because I wanted to try something different.
Uh-huh.
So, but for the most part, I try not to redo routines because I have so many ideas and like I'm like, well, let me see if I can do something different on stage,
Right.
only it's funny now because I halfway feel like a musician sometimes because I've had promoters actually request a routine. So they're, oh, I guess I'll redo it if they're paying me to come out
Right.
to pose.
Guess pose. Yeah.
But but usually if they don't care, I'll make something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a expression of your creativity and stuff. You want to do new stuff. Okay. Um, this is very general. What is the most effective workout for big lats? All right. Instead of a whole workout, what are one or two exercises you prefer for lats?
I prefer just row machine machine rows and pull downs, I guess. Like I like to do single arm pull downs. So yeah, I mean the biggest thing, man, like exercise wise, as you get older, you start to realize like the actual exercise isn't super important. Like as long as it's training that muscle, like if you're training a lot, the particular exercise, in my opinion, isn't the most important thing. The most important
Right.
thing is are you progressing in the gym? Is your form correct? Are you training close to failure? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the execution of it. Right.
Because I mean, there's bodybuilders all over the world that don't have the same equipment, same gyms, but yet they still build great
Yeah.
backs.
I saw Ruff at summer shredding last year. Didn't get a chance
You should have
to
stopped by, man.
stop by. Yeah. Um. So like for me, when I get approached in public, like I'm not. I've gotten better at it over the years, but I'm still pretty introverted. So I think for me the most awkward part is after they like say hi or take a picture or whatever, and they kind of just stand there and they don't really talk, and it's just so awkward because I just like
Yeah,
I don't know what to do. I don't know if if you have that experience a lot.
I got used to it, and now like I'll just conversate, because a lot of times people want to talk to you, but when in the moment they don't know what to say, so I'll just
Yeah,
ask
so
them
you just
something.
ask some questions. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's cool. All right, so yeah, anybody, if you want to say hi, Terrence is gonna say hi back, so don't be too shy.
Yeah, I've heard I look a lot meaner than I actually am. Like everyone says, "Oh man, I thought you were gonna be mean." I was like, nah, I'm not."
I think it's safe to say most people in the world are not mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We just look mean because you're big and we're big and muscular or whatever. Um, all right, I
Uh,
think we're gonna wrap it up. Obviously, everybody follow Terrence and Iron Rebel, and look forward to more videos. Of course, Terrence is gonna be doing a lot of videos on his end, and then some for us, obviously. If you guys have any questions or any, I guess, requests for maybe video ideas or Q&As, or like we said, we'll release something asking for some of your favorite quotes that week, so we can give Terrence some inspiration for his elbow sleeves. We're gonna be making for him. All
would you
right.
ever consider changing divisions? Last question.
Yeah, yeah.
training videos are coming once a week too, yo. Alan's working on one right now. We're about to post one probably tomorrow with Hani, even though it's already out. But no, I mean like in terms, people always ask me what I changed divisions, and I don't like they don't know. I don't think they know how heavy I am. I look a lot heavier than what I am, and I don't really have, I haven't had, I won't have any issues making weight. I don't think we'll see. We'll see because my weight hasn't been dropping, but I've been getting leaner. But 212, like, Keon is 205 and we're the same height. Last time I competed, that was 170. That's a huge difference. That's 35 pounds different. And I've been competing longer than him, and I haven't really been holding back on trying to grow. So I don't I don't have the best genes when it comes to gaining muscle. Obviously, it's not bad. I would never say it's bad, but compared to my peers, where I mean, even Derek, I've known Derek a long time. I met Derek when he got his pro card when he was super light, and then he started bodybuilding after me, and now he's like what 50, 60 pounds, 60 pounds heavier than I am. So
Right.
I don't have the best genes when it comes to building. I can still grow, just a little slower than a lot of guys. So I don't think I'll ever be heavy enough to really do 212. Maybe I still got 14 years if I compete until I'm 45, but um I'll just take it as it goes. I'm really happy in classic. I don't want to shit on 212, but in terms of like health considerations, in terms of the amount of shows, like the 212 is not at the Arnold anymore. There's maybe 12 shows a year, maybe 15, and for 212 guys. And in terms of popularity, I don't really see a huge reason either to make that switch.
Yeah.
So so yeah, even prize money wise, I don't think I think they get less than us at a lot of shows, maybe or maybe even. So unless I just wanted to go crazy and gain the size and just to see it, maybe, but I don't know. I might do it just one more time because like Chris, I turned pro in bodybuilding, just to see how I would do. But I don't think I would compete in 212 for like a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's close it out. You have anything you want to say to the listeners? Uh,
No,
we're good.
yeah, we're good. All right. See you guys. Thank
All
you for
right.
joining.
Thanks for doing this. We'll talk
All
to you soon.
right. Peace.
All right. Bye.